Welcome to Film Freaks. Again, this is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And for the second movie that we saw tonight as part of a double feature, we went to go see the film called Den of Thieves. And we've been meaning to check this movie out for a while. It's just that we haven't gotten around to it due to personal stuff. But this film is directed, we've finally got our chance to watch it, and this film is directed by a director named Christian Gudegast, who is his first time directing. He was a screenwriter on films such as A Man Apart and One Has Fallen, which also starred Gerard Butler. And this film, Den of Thieves, stars Gerard Butler. A huge list of cast, actually. 50 Cent, Pablo Schreiber, who's actually the half-brother of Liev Schreiber. And you got Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., and
then you have Cheddar Bob.
and basically, yeah, Evan Jones, that's the guy's name.
Yeah, and if you don't remember the reference Cheddar Bob, he was Cheddar Bob in 8 Mile.
Yeah. And then this film is basically about a series of a team of thieves who are pretty much trying to rob the Federal Reserve in Los Angeles, while at the same time they're being pursued by a local group of county sheriff deputies who are trying to stop them, who are led by Gerard Butler and his crew. So
I promise you, there's more to it than what he described. We just don't want to spoil. This movie is a well-written film.
Yeah, and now here's some backstory for you. Now, this director, like I said, is worked with Gerard Butler on another film called One Has Fallen, which I never saw. But, going into this film with the expectations, I actually really am glad to see that we're getting these type of crime thrillers back. Because I noticed that within the last few years or so, we've actually been seeing that kind of come back. Like, remember a couple years ago, we had a film called 999 that came out, which was dealing with, a heist and everything like that. And, you had a series of bank robbers. Like, you had these robbers that were being pursued by the cops and stuff. I'm glad they're bringing that genre back, because I remember back in the 90s when Heat came out, it pretty much, changed a lot with that genre.
And not only that, unlike, with this film, which we're about to get into, and then 999, which I thought was a really good film, usually when these movies are released so early, like January, February-ish, it does show a growing concern, because we like to call January and pretty much February too, they used to always be called the dump months, the dump movie months, where you're going to dump your standard fucking movie.
Yeah, where
like
the studios
from last year and all those movies come out just to go, okay, we're going to hurry and rush this out because it obviously can't compete in the summer. So let's just hurry. We know this is standard. Oh, here's another standard and another standard. And you have to deal with that up until March. So I get concerned with these heist these kind of city type movies. Like a movie last year was kind of similar, was called Sleepless. That movie, you'll see on my fucking list, that movie was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I haven't.
Jamie Foxx. Oh my god, that was a cringy movie. That's why I was a little concerned with Den of Thieves, And I'm not against rap. I listen to rap, some rap. I'm pretty mixed, I can listen to anything. And, but that being said, when it comes to these type action films, I feel like every time they star like rappers, I do feel like they end up being standard films.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but this type of genre itself, heist films, I'm always into, because I'm actually curious how they always do it, because it seems like nowadays we're getting that trend back now, where we're getting them to be either kind of like comedies, or we're going back to the gritty, crime thriller type movies like this. And so that's what piqued my interest based on the previews. Yeah. And I gotta honestly say, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And yeah, he's also in this too. 50 Cent's also in it. And after, I gotta say that I was actually pretty surprised by this film. I thought it was very, very good.
Yeah, this is a movie that I don't tend to listen to other people's views. I try to go in and make my judge on my own merit. I heard at first, when it first came out, I was hearing some good things about it, but then I started really seeing heavily mixed, really worrisome, reviews. I'm like, oh man, and stuff. But after seeing it, I'm actually thinking that it's heavily underrated. I thought it was a damn good movie.
I did too, and I can honestly say, to get my pros out of the way, to get it started with, all the performances in this are outstanding. Like, to me, I think this is probably Gerard Butler's like best performance. I think probably since Law Abiding Citizen.
Yes, all the performances were great. 50 Cent, everybody. I mean, 50 Cent didn't serve much of a purpose. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But he actually was I kind of liked him. I mean, he was enjoyable. And generally, him in action films like these, because he's trying to get into a lot of action films, and a lot of them go straight to video, and I hear they're not good.
Yeah.
His acting is really not good. But this one, I heard, from what I saw, he did pretty damn good for what he was given. I wish he would have had more of a purpose, but he was still good. But yeah, like he said, Gerard Butler, to me, I feel like since Law Abiding Citizen, I haven't seen the Fallen movie, so I can't judge those. But since Law Abiding Citizen, from the last film I saw that I loved of his, this is easily like his top 2, 3 best films of his career.
Yeah,
his
definitely.
Performance.
Because in this film,
performance, like, really, he steals the movie.
He does, because it's almost like, in a way, because his character is pretty much, he's the tough, kind of really dickhole cop that like pushes so much boundaries to the point that he actually goes beyond his stuff that you'd actually see like as kind of a corrupt cop basically, and because he basically goes outside the law in this movie in a way.
And he's pretty much the judge, jury, and executioner. All right. I like to compare him, and this is where you can be kind of like mix on like what you think about this film. He really kind of like reminds me of Riggs from Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson's character.
Yeah.
And he plays like probably the most grittiest looking I've ever seen him in a film, because he's like all like, looks like he had shaved and showered in months. He's all like tore the fuck up in the face. I mean, he's just looking like he's been through fucking hell.
Yeah, pretty a lot, and not just that, but in a way too, he's got kind of like some a small element of Alonzo Harris from Training Day, played by Denzel Washington. Only in the fact that he goes like fucking like tough as nails brutality on throughout this movie.
Yep.
So that I kind of look at him as a cross between Alonzo Harris and pretty much Martin Riggs in a way, which I actually
I did like the other crew's gang, the one who was doing all the crimes.
Pablo Schreiber, that's the guy, the main guy who plays Merryman. Basically, this guy, for those of you who have been watching Netflix, he's really popular on that show called Orange Is the New Black. In the early seasons, he played this really corrupt guard who messed with the prisoners and stuff in that show. In this film, man, he is like intense as shit. Like every time he was on screen, he was like it's like you're not safe around this guy.
Yeah, and I will like to also bring up Ice Cube's son in this, O'Shea. I can't really.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Jackson Jr. I will say that other than Gerard Butler being my stole the role film, O'Shea was my second favorite performance.
Yeah, I thought that he was actually, him and Gerard Butler seemed like the only ones that really had like kind of fleshed out characters, so to speak. Because yes. I mean, you kind of get that with your main guy, Pablo Schreiber, but you mainly get it a lot from the other two, because them two seem like they have like more of a like fleshed out kind of like art to themselves.
And now that we're on kind of the same note with O'Shea Jackson Jr., I'm not going to tell you like what happens, but there's this thing, and I'm going to just tell you right now, it was his performance, man. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really, I love his career, what he's doing, because I also like another film I thought he did really phenomenal in was
Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton, playing his father.
Yeah, Ice Cube.
Damn good in that.
Yeah.
So, so far I'm liking what he's doing. I actually kind of feel like he's more dynamic than his own father, because really, Ice Cube, I liked him in the 90s, but I just don't think that dude has range at all.
Yeah, because in this film, O'Shea plays pretty much a bartender who pretty much joins the crew that are going after it to be he's their driver, and you could actually he really comes across as basically like an everyday kind of guy, and he's really
not really a criminal, like he's just a guy just trying to live.
Yeah,
he's a soft spoken dude. And that's what I really liked about his performance, because he shows that he can be everything but a hard ass, like his father. His father is always a hard ass and everything.
Yeah.
But O'Shea, I just feel like he can play anything.
That's what I'm saying, and plus, you know, it was also good that the film really spent a lot of time like enhancing some things with both him and Gerard Butler, because Gerard Butler also has the way his character goes through in this is that he's dealing with his ex-wife and stuff like that, where basically he gets divorced because of some stuff that goes down, and pretty much you actually kind of feel sorry for him throughout the movie because he's trying to see his kids, and you know you see a lot of the emotion he goes through, which I found really
like
enjoyable.
The emotion. Yes, I agree with you. The emotions are really strong with this character going through a lot of home troubles, but at the same time, there's some stuff that goes throughout the story that actually kind of brings more of a comedy to it. Like, it's not trying to be a funny movie, but just the way he acts, like he just like where because in the like 3/4 of the movie, he's pretty much I don't give a fuck type guy. So he's like doing some pretty fucked up shit, especially when he's trying to go under, you know, kind of investigation, trying to find, you know, who's doing all this shit. And he kind of has his speculations to where he's kind of like following one of the guys. And there's some pretty funny scenes between these two.
Yeah, there is, definitely. And not just that, but I also like how the film is pretty much, you know, it actually has some really smart things throughout the film that I actually thought caught me off guard, that like I thought it was trying to go in one direction, but then it went into another direction, and I was like, okay, because a lot of the problem that I hear that comes from a lot of people I've, you know, talked to or seen about the film is that a lot of comparisons are made between this and Heat. And yes, I can see a lot of the similarities because both films deal with, you know, guys who are trying to rob, or who are robbers that are being pursued by the cops, and and that film also deals with, you know, the cops' lives and also the robbers' lives, or the bad guys' lives, and everything, and that's what this movie does too. But I think the difference is that with this one, they wanted to make it to where they're taking similar elements to it as more of a tribute, because if you look at it, this film is more like it's paying homage to those type of movies that were made in the 90s.
Exactly. I don't think they were necessarily copying like a lot of people told me they was, and then why they didn't like the movie. I will disagree with those people. I felt like they paid a tribute, which is difference from copying and tribute.
Yeah.
I felt like they paid more tribute, like, you know, respect, but they also did some really fucking, like, a good twist at the end. I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, they do something really unique that I thought, because the direction that I thought they were going with actually kind of switched gears on me, which I found very fascinating. I was like, wow, you don't see that too much. So
yeah, so I actually give them a pro on that. Unfortunately, this is one of those films that really goes deep into, like, writing. This isn't like your standard film, like a standard heist film. This film is like 2.5 hours long, so it's dealing with all these twists and turns, and just like, you really can't talk too much unless you do a spoiler. But I will say that was a hell of a written film to be released so early. I'm actually was kind of impressed with the movie.
Yeah, I did. I was too, and plus there's a lot of things that I enjoy with the way that that they actually give some, you know, really depth for a lot of their plans that they do with how they, in a way, this is basically the equivalent if you took the heist missions that were from Grand Theft Auto 5 and turned it into a live action film. That's basically how you look at it.
Yes, and now this is like one of those formats that I really enjoyed. Was you start off with your, you know, because these guys who rob, they kind of like start out small, but not really small, but they're robbing smaller shit, and then it leads to that Federal Reserve thing. And I'll tell you right now, the scene, the whole like getting ready for the big one, the Federal Reserve. I mean, you're talking about like 30 plus minutes long. And I'll tell you right now, it was very intense. Like,
it was.
You sit at the edge of your seat, like, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, it's like really making you grind your. To me, I felt like I was grinding my seat. Like, I can't wait to see what's going on with this.
Well, and not just that, but I also like the fact that the film has, you know, it really keeps that gritty tone like you would see in other like these gritty type movies. Much like I've kind of like described with 999. This is basically another equivalent if David Ayer kind of wrote this movie, because it kind of feels like one of those type of movies.
It does feel like a David Ayer movie. It really did.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that in a good way, because I like a lot of his written films that he's done.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I like the way that the cinematography blends in with the film too, because it reminded me a lot of those type of films that you would see in the 90s that have like that really like bleak type of look to it, where It's California, so you're going to see like some yellow parts here and there where it's very sunny in parts. And,
Yeah, which those scenes kind of remind me of Training Day, where they used to do that a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I really enjoyed that.
All like really orange looking with
Yeah.
LA look. Yeah, that is true. 90s was really big on doing that orange LA look, and they did that in this film on a majority of the off season. Not only that, I don't know about you, but I actually really enjoyed the score to this film.
I did too, surprisingly. I mean, it kind of sounded reminiscent a little bit of 999 in a good way, because it had like the very dark kind of like, well, that kind of score that you would hear like from those type of movies.
Not only that, you know what kind of score I actually kind of heard playing? I kind of feel like it is the score, but they kind of tweaked it a little bit. I heard a score from the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling that I ended up really enjoying out of the movie Drive, because Drive had a great score. I mean, it was an amazing score film. And I felt like I heard some of those scores in this film, which really made it more, made me enjoy the film more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so it really does have a lot of merit to it. And then also, when it gets to its like final, like maybe, yeah, when it gets to, when stuff goes down, when you see a lot of the brutality that takes place, like we were saying, it gets really intense to the point where you're just like, man, anything can happen at this point,
Yeah, exactly. Now that's another thing I want to praise is the brutality
and the unpredictability.
Film. Yeah, and unpredictability. Anything can happen at once, and that's why I enjoyed the film even more. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then now, if I have like any really like cons to the film itself, I would say that even though, like I said, it does take some liberties with Heat, I can see a lot of the comparisons made with that film, because there are certain scenes that take place in this film that you could consider a ripoff, because they seem like they're directly from that movie. Because like Heat is one of my all-time favorite crime dramas, and I can
yeah. Keep on. What were you saying?
Well, and I can see that a lot of people can see that there's maybe one or two scenes in this film that are directly from that movie.
Yeah, I do want to mention something before I go deep in my cons. I will say that this film kind of felt like if you were to not be able to take all the stories, but this film took like it could be like if you were to try to do a San Andreas movie.
Basically, yeah. If you for those of you who ever played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas,
Grand Theft Auto 5,
or Grand Theft Auto 5, it's almost like they could have made it into this movie, because it's almost because the film has
it deals with corruption. It deals with the club scenes and the music and the whole LA atmosphere of just like shootings and gangs in some areas and stuff. Not much of the gang part, but it just deals like a lot of if you were playing it wouldn't necessarily be taking a lot of the stories, but just making a typical movie of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Out of that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That would have probably been the closest we ever get to a Grand Theft Auto movie, would be this movie, basically.
Yeah, if you were to take that and blend it with maybe take another movie like Training Day, because Training Day kind of remind me of Grand Theft Auto 5, where they did like the whole Grove Street type feel to it.
Yeah.
So if you took those two movies and blended them together, you would have a perfect fucking Grand Theft Auto movie.
Yeah. But here's pretty much now where we get into our cons, and I'll say that while the film does do good with at least, keeping things going with the way that these guys plan their heists and stuff, I will say that there are some certain there's maybe like one scene I can think of that probably didn't really need to be in there. Like, for example, as much as we get into like some of the characters, ways that like their characters themselves throughout the movie, I did kind of feel like the one that kind of stood out the most for me, like that didn't really need anything, was 50 Cent's character, because 50 Cent throughout the film.
Because like I said in the beginning, what I was going to talk about, the 50 Cent that he brings up, this guy. Even though I loved his performance, I thought it was better than a lot of I hear from his standard, like, straight-to-video movies, his performance-wise. he was not really given anything in this film to be there. He was mostly, in fact, they didn't even want him talking much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of times he's just kind of looking at the other guys and just really just going along with the plan. He doesn't really do anything that's really essential than what the other guys do. He's just you could have really didn't have to get 50 Cent to play him, other than it's just 50 Cent. But basically, there's a scene in this film where, and this is not a spoiler because I've heard other reviewers talk. I've heard this also in other places. There's a scene where he basically has a daughter and she's about to go on the prom. Now I won't spoil what happens. Basically, this scene does have a funny payoff, but I felt it was like the most unnecessary scene in the entire film because it didn't really have like any merit to it. Because basically,
it made it stick out like a sore thumb because even though the film does try to add this comedy, which does blend very well, they tried to really overdo the funny scene in this part. It just like really just came out of nowhere in the film. Like, that feels weird.
That, and also keep in mind too, there is some inconsistencies because throughout the film, well, at least the beginning of the film, we're supposed to be introducing the characters' names throughout the film. Like, the only ones they really do that are like our main three guys, which are Gerard Butler, Pablo, and O'Shea. 50 Cent doesn't even get a name recognition, so it's almost like you have a scene that doesn't really have like any impact. So I'm like, what was the point of that?
They do the whole main, like you said, the name thing. And they start out like that, and they said basically you were like, oh fuck it, we don't got time. Fuck the other guys, they're just standard guys.
Yeah, but it's like, then why have somebody like 50 Cent?
Yeah.
But anyway, that was one of my cons.
Bob, even though he plays a better, like he plays a more purpose than 50 Cent does, he doesn't hardly talk in this film.
Yeah, the guy, because he really is more of like the kind of the technician type of guy who, well, we won't spoil it. Basically, he does like stuff outside of the main stuff, so to speak. And then you got. No, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of somebody else. There's that other guy we're thinking about. No, he's basically like just one of your other, like, shooting, the guys that are just pointing guns at people. That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, he does play a techno aspect in it because he's the one that was messing with all like the electricity and the cameras and shit like that. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind.
You were technically right. Yeah, he was techno. He
was
a techno guy.
Other than that, though, I can't really think of like any major cons. Those were the kind of the two things I thought of.
Well, not only that, I actually, even though it kind of gives us conclusion, they do really dig into Gerard Butler's family in like more of the first half, and we're just led to believe that the marriage moved on or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But here's like a part where it's not really a flaw for me, but it was like I wanted more. I actually wanted to see more of Gerard Butler's Riggs version.
I did too. I was
getting so into the character that I was ashamed that you had to kickstart him into being okay. I got to take this seriously. I'm a cop now. I got to get this done.
Yeah.
I was really getting into the more guy that was like fucking cheating on his wife. And he's like, oh fuck, like just losing it type dude. I was getting into that guy. That version of Gerard Butler was awesome. I mean, they're both were great. I'm just saying I was really getting into the character.
Yeah, and not just that, but I did kind of feel like his team, because his team themselves are supposed to be, meant to be kind of like the ultimate badasses and stuff, but really, they don't really, there's only two like major action sequences that really take place in this entire film, because the rest of it is all building up to that, so to speak. So, they could have added more stuff, like side things they could have added to kind of grow more with the characters. But they had to take their time because they were trying to play it smart with the way that the heists were going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like they do, but this is like one of those films where kind of like Gerard Butler and the cops kind of know what the gang's doing, what their intentions are, who they are, but they want them to get them at the right time.
Yeah.
So they already kind of like really, it's not like one of those mysteries where they don't know until the end. It really just, they kind of are like, we gotta, we know they're going to twist and turn us and throw us off. So we got to prepare for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but overall though,
I find it underrated because I know a lot of people have mixed feelings for this movie. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
I did too. I actually think that this film, it is good to see these type of, films still being made because I like these gritty crime thrillers that you still see where cops are chasing the bad guys, things like that, and seeing the dirtiness that goes around. But anyway, overall, though, I can say that I still really enjoyed this film, and with that, I'm going to give Den of Thieves a rating, a compelling rating on the Film Freaks meter.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with him on this one also. I'm going to go with a compelling grade on our Film Freaks meter.
All right, fair enough. And for those of you who have also seen Den of Thieves, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe and check out our other reviews at our website at filmfreaks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.